Mr. Secretary, I don't say this lightly. I have to say this on the record. I think your tenure as Secretary of Defense has been shameful and weak, and you should resign.
Pete Hegseth just got told to his face something no Secretary of Defense ever wants to hear. And it wasn't from a partisan fighter. It was from a combat veteran who knows exactly what a politicized military looks like and how dangerous it can be. When Pat Ryan said you should resign, it wasn't a performance.
Goes back. Chair, and I recognize the gentleman from New York, Mr. Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you both for being here. We have all worn the uniform. We've all served in combat. We all love our country. We all revere our troops. And I really want to speak with you both, not as partisans, but as patriots. And I want to talk specifically about the events at Fort Bragg the other day. General Kane, I want to start with you. As a junior officer, were you ever required to make a pledge of political loyalty? Yes or no?
Sir, as you know, we're an apolitical military, so, no.
Thank you. At any time in your 30-plus years of incredibly distinguished service, did you have to make a pledge of partisan or political loyalty?
No, sir.
Thank you. Did you ever serve in any unit or command at any level where service members were required to make a pledge of political loyalty?
No, sir.
Thank you. And I want to commend you. You've been on the record on this, including in your confirmation hearings, where you clarified, quote, "I've never worn any political merchandise or said anything to that effect." I appreciate that. That is the standard, and commend you for saying so and continuing to model that. General Kane, one last question for you. Should soldiers have to pledge political loyalty to participate in an event with our Commander-in-Chief? Yes or no, please.
Sir, I'm not, first, no. I'm not aware of any time in history that soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines have been asked to do that. I think.
I'm sorry, General. I do want to, just in the interest of time, I want to talk about what happened at Fort Bragg 2 days ago. There was guidance put out, and this has been verified by multiple independent news outlets, saying, quote, these are to the soldiers of the 18th Airborne Corps and U.S. Army. If soldiers have political views that are in opposition to the current administration, then they need to speak with their leadership and get swapped out. This is swapped out of the event with the president. In addition, in an incredibly disturbing incident, there was a pop-up shop selling MAGA merchandise on post at Fort Bragg. And to summarize this, there was a commander from Bragg who said on the record, quote, "This has been a bad week for the Army, for anyone who cares about us being a neutral institution. This was shameful." If those are the facts, and I know the Army is investigating at least the MAGA pop-up shop, is that appropriate, General Kane?
Sir, I haven't seen any of these reports. I'm not familiar with them, but as I mentioned earlier and in my confirmation hearing, the nation demands a political, nonpartisan military.
I appreciate you saying that and happy to share those reports. Secretary Hegseth, are you familiar with DoD Directive 1344.10? Political activities of the members of the armed forces?
Well, first off, I don't buy into
yes
your
or no?
insinuation
Are you familiar
that pledges are being done under this administration. That's
I reclaim my time. Are you familiar with this DoD directive?
There's never one time in my service or in this
Mr.
Defense
Secretary,
Department.
will you please answer
I'm answering your
these
question
questions?
where politics has been considered for service members.
Are you familiar with this directive? Yes or no?
Which directive?
DoD Directive 1344.10. I'm happy to provide you a copy. There's even a one-page red and green cheat sheet. Are you familiar with it? This is the same directive from when we were all in uniform.
I'm sure I am.
Has anything changed in that directive under your guidance, given what happened 2 days ago at Fort Bragg? Is there a new policy change that we're not aware of?
Again, I totally reject your insinuation.
Is there a policy change to DoD Directive 1344.10?
I know what you're attempting to insinuate, but there's no policy change and there is no policy.
Mr. Secretary, have you ever worn a MAGA hat in front of the troops?
I own plenty of MAGA hats, but I don't.
Have you ever worn one in front of the troops at an official event? I don't believe so. I don't believe so. Do you think it's appropriate for the President of the United States to wear political merchandise, including a MAGA hat, at official events, including West Point commencement?
The Commander-in-Chief
yes or no?
Can wear whatever hat he wants, to include the phrase, "Make America Great Again," because I would like to make America great again as well.
So you think that's appropriate?
The Commander-in-Chief has the right, in front of his troops, to wear whatever he'd like.
Okay, I strongly disagree with you. And I urge you both, especially you, General Kane, as we see an increasingly political rhetoric, including from the Secretary, to please, for the good of our troops, This is an incredibly difficult moment, and we need leaders like you to continue to echo the apolitical nature. I have 12 seconds. Mr. Secretary, I don't say this lightly. I have to say this on the record. I think your tenure as Secretary of Defense has been shameful and weak, and you should resign. I yield back.
Gentlemen.
This moment between Congressman Pat Ryan and Secretary Pete Hegseth wasn't just a fiery hearing clip. It was a warning. One delivered by a man who has worn the uniform, led soldiers in combat, and understands the fragile line that separates a healthy democracy from something far more dangerous. When Ryan confronted Hegseth, he wasn't attacking him as a Democrat. He was speaking as someone who has lived inside the institution that is now being pulled into political gravity. And that's what viewers need to understand. This wasn't about policy disagreements. It was about the preservation of the apolitical nature of the United States military, one of the pillars that has kept this country stable for nearly 250 years. To understand the weight of that, you have to understand how rare it is for soldiers to even talk about politics while in uniform, let alone be asked to align themselves with an administration. Pat Ryan asked General Caney a series of simple yes or no questions. Did you ever take a loyalty pledge? Did any commander ever ask service members to pledge allegiance to a political figure? Did any unit you served in require that? And the answer each time was no. Because that's not what the military is supposed to be. Soldiers swear an oath to the Constitution, not a president. That distinction is everything. It is the firewall that protects the country from turning its armed forces into a political tool. And that's why the Fort Bragg incident mattered so much. Soldiers were instructed, according to multiple verified reports, to step aside from participating in a presidential event if their political views did not align with the administration. That is not troop management. That is political vetting. That is the type of pressure you see in governments where the military isn't neutral, where the chain of command is tied to the political loyalty of those in power. Then came the pop-up shops selling political merchandise on a military base. A political brand being marketed inside a federal installation. That's not an accident. That doesn't just happen. It happens because people in leadership either encouraged it, allowed it, or refused to stop it. And when Pat Ryan pressed Hegseth with DoD Directive 134410, a decades-old rule that restricts political activity by service members, Hegseth didn't reaffirm neutrality. He didn't draw a line. He didn't even acknowledge the seriousness of what happened. He deflected, dismissed, and defended. And when asked a direct question whether he himself had worn political merchandise in front of troops, his answer bottomed out. I own plenty of MAGA hats. That's not the grounding response you expect from the person tasked with preserving the apolitical integrity of the armed forces. And that is why Pat Ryan told him on the record that he should resign. Because this isn't about who someone supports politically. It's about the institution that protects the nation being pulled quietly but steadily into a space where political identity becomes intertwined with military service. And history shows in every country where that has happened, it never ends in a place that serves the people. The most important takeaway from this moment is not the confrontation. It's the principle behind it. A democratic nation can survive bad policy. It can survive political swings. It can survive unpopular administrations. What it cannot survive is the armed forces becoming a partisan tool. Once that line is crossed, it becomes almost impossible to restore. That's why Pat Ryan's voice carried so much weight. He wasn't defending a party. He was defending the one institution that has to remain above politics. And his warning wasn't subtle. He said accountability is coming. He said oversight is coming. And he reminded Hegseth Noem, Tom Holman, and every official using federal power in ways that bend the rules. The mask-free hearings are coming, and they will have to answer under oath. If you want more breakdowns like this analysis that goes deeper than the clip and explains the stakes behind the moment, subscribe to Political Debate Files because this isn't about left or right. It's about truth, institutions, and the future of the country. And someone has to keep unpacking it all as it unfolds.